Ever wondered why finding a decent, affordable place to live feels like winning the lottery in so many parts of the world, yet in many European cities, it just seems different? It's not your imagination. There is a fundamental difference in philosophy that shapes everything from the apartment you rent to the house you might one day buy. Let's dive into why European housing often feels less like a high-stakes casino and more like, well, a home. The core idea is simple but revolutionary. Housing is a human right, a form of shelter, not just a financial asset to be flipped for profit. This isn't just a nice slogan, it's a principle baked into policy. Take Vienna, for example. It's consistently ranked as one of the most livable cities in the world, and a huge part of that is its housing. Over 60% of Vienna's residents live in social or cooperative housing. We're not talking about rundown projects. This is high-quality, architecturally diverse housing integrated right into the city fabric. You could have a doctor living next to a barista, next to a retired teacher. This social mixing is intentional. The city itself acts as a major developer and landlord, prioritizing stability and affordability over maximizing profit. The rent is tied to construction and maintenance costs, not what the market can bear. This massive public option keeps the private rental market in check, preventing prices from spiraling out of control. Then you have Germany, a nation of renters. Over half the population rents their home, and that's not seen as a stepping stone to ownership. It's a long-term, stable way of life. Why? Because tenants have incredible protections. Rent increases are strictly capped, often tied to a local rent index called the Mietspiegel. Landlords can't just evict you on a whim. They need a very, very good reason, like needing the apartment for themselves or a close family member. This gives renters a sense of security that's almost equivalent to owning a home. You can put down roots, invest in your community, and not worrying that you'll be priced out next year. Contrast this with the up or out mentality common in places like the United States or Canada, where homeownership is pushed as the ultimate financial goal and renting is often seen as temporary. In that system, property values are king. Rising prices are celebrated as a sign of a healthy economy, even if it means housing becomes unaffordable for an entire generation. Local governments often have a vested interest in high property values because it means more tax revenue. In many European countries, the government plays a much more active role. They use zoning laws not just to control what gets built, but to ensure a mix of housing types. They might require developers to include a certain percentage of affordable units in any new project. This is called inclusionary zoning. In Paris, for instance, there are ambitious targets to increase the share of social housing in every district, especially the wealthier ones, to combat social segregation. Another huge factor is the clampdown on speculation. Many European cities have put strict rules on short-term rentals like Airbnb. In Berlin, you used to need a special permit to rent out your entire apartment to tourists, and the fines for breaking the rules were steep. While some of these rules have evolved, the intent remains to keep housing available for residents, not tourists. Some regions also have higher taxes for second homes or properties owned by foreign investors who leave them empty, discouraging the practice of using apartments as safe deposit boxes in the sky. Of course, Europe isn't a monolith, and it's not a perfect utopia. Cities like Lisbon, Dublin, and even Berlin have faced their own serious housing crises, often fueled by foreign investment and the rise of the tech industry. The Vienna model is hard to replicate from scratch because it requires decades of consistent public investment. And even with strong regulations, market pressures are a constant battle. But the underlying difference in approach is crucial. When a society collectively decides that stable housing is a public good, like clean water or public transportation, the policies reflect that. The goal isn't to create real estate millionaires. It's to create stable, vibrant, and equitable communities. Think about the architecture itself. In many American suburbs, you see a sea of single-family homes, each on its own plot of land. This is a very land-intensive, and often isolating way to live. European cities, built over centuries, have a long tradition of dense, mid-rise apartment buildings. These perimeter blocks, with their shared courtyards, foster a natural sense of community. You bump into your neighbors, kids play together in a safe, enclosed space. Local shops and cafes are just a short walk away. This urban design encourages a less car-dependent, more socially connected lifestyle. The financial side is also different. In the US, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is the gold standard, often subsidized and encouraged by the government. This makes it easier to buy, but it also fuels housing demand and price increases. In many European countries, mortgage terms are shorter and down payments are significantly higher. This makes buying a home a more deliberate, less speculative decision. The system doesn't create the same kind of frenzy to get on the property ladder at all costs. So what can we learn from this? It shows that the housing crisis isn't some unstoppable force of nature. It's the result of specific policy choices. The choice to prioritize property values over people, investment returns over stability, and market forces over community well-being. The European approach, with its emphasis on strong tenant rights, large-scale public and social housing, and regulations against speculation, offers a powerful alternative. It's a reminder that we can design our cities and our housing markets to serve the many, not just the few. It's about seeing a home as the foundation of a good life, a place of security and belonging. And that's a foundation worth building on. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more deep dives into how our world works. See you in the next one.